This the Black Powder Podcast. Kick up your feet, lean on your armrest.
All right, if you would please introduce yourself. I could give you a great intro, but I mean, it comes better from the source, in my opinion.
Absolutely, bro. So my name is Daryle Rostic. I am the owner and head of operations for Rostic Arms. We are a firearms manufacturing company based just outside of Grand Rapids, Michigan. And we manufacture AR-15s, AR-10s, and coming soon to the collection, double stack 1911. So we've been in business since 2022. I've been in the guns way before that, but everybody thought I was crazy. And then COVID happened and everybody went and got a gun. And the rest is history. So I also own a firearms education company called Smart Shooters. We teach a lot of intro classes. We do a lot of free training for the community. And we also teach concealed carry classes, intro to rifle, and so on, just to help bridge that gap between people who want to get into firearms and people who may not be as educated. We kind of marry those two things together. You come get training from Smart Shooters. We introduce you to Rostic Arms. We're also a retailer. We sell the Glocks, the SIGs, the everything else. But our claim to fame is really that we manufacture, and that is the part of the business that is growing the fastest. And I'm looking forward to exposing more people to that.
Nice. So you're the owner, the operator, the curator, and the educator. I guess you could say.
I like that. I'm gonna borrow that. I'm gonna borrow that. I do got a
Jeez.
dope team though. Shout out to my team.
Yeah, teamwork definitely makes it different, man. But with all that being said and all the hats that you wear, I mean, we're definitely gonna get into the firearms down the road. But biggest question I can ask you is the starting question. What moment in your life did you say, I'm going to build my own firearms company? And how did that decision change everything?
So I first had the thought in 2019 when I was working for a Fortune 500 company. I was an operations manager for a manufacturing site. And I was in the guns then. I had a nice, hefty collection. And I was just thinking one day, like, I spend a lot of money on guns, like a lot. And I really was like, Smith and Wesson, Glock, like these are just people's last names. Like somebody had to start that. And I was like, why can't I do it? Like what's the problem where I can't do that? Like, and how do you even do that? So I was struggling with that a lot because I just was like, man, you got to be able to do it because the fact that it exists proves it's possible. And so fast forward to 2021, I'm a firearms instructor full time. I am educating the community. We're just passing the height of COVID. And all my students, I'm like, man, I'm going fast. I'm training. I'm like, man, I'd have trained about 700 people.
Wow.
And yeah, and that was in like a span of a year and a half, 2 years. And I'm like, I keep taking them to all these stores to buy all these guns. So if you look at it from a black business perspective, the dollar can't stay black because I don't have anywhere to take them to where they could buy a black owned company's product. And I was just like, it's got to be a way, man. It's just got to be a way. There's no way that we don't have any black owned firearm manufacturing companies. And um, I was so busy looking for it. I just was like, why not? Why don't we just do it? Like, why don't we? If I get my FFL, I can sell other guns in the meantime while I build it. But why don't we just build it? And so 2022 came. I finally got approved for my FFL. Finally got the zoning permissions from the city and all of the things that I needed. And then it was off to the races after that.
Nice. And yeah, that is one big issue that occurs. It's like instruct people on how to shoot the firearm. But in our situation, being a black society, you got a lot of black people that want to buy from black owned companies. And
Yeah.
the problem is, like you said, you look up and then you're literally giving that business to somebody else's last name. I myself, I always say, like, you punch a clock just for somebody else's dream. And
Hmm.
eventually, like you did, you got to break away from it. But um keeping that dollar black in the firearms industry is one of the hardest things to do, especially whenever it comes
Absolutely.
down to loyalty. Because, like, um we may make acquaintances along the way, but we really ain't got no friends in the game,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
absolutely. That's a fact.
Yeah. So the fact that you're doing it, man, I mean, that's making a big difference. One of the things I'd like to see in the future is, like, people get over the dollar cost over quality, if you will.
Hmm.
Um, by that I mean, instead of like recommending, like, let's say you double stack 1911, which I know you have for a while, but you're pushing it now. Um, People fear the price to the point where, and not on your personal firearm, for example,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
yeah, but people fear price, but they don't think about the fact that there's a reason you're paying for that price because the age-old question is, how much is your life worth? Is it really worth that $300 Taurus G3 or whatever? No shade on Taurus, but I mean, I'm just saying, like,
Right.
you always get hit with it's just as good. And
Yeah, I don't want nothing in my life that's just as good.
right. I definitely agree with that, man, because, like, my life, in my opinion, my life, and is gonna be a super biased opinion because it's my life, but nonetheless, to me, it's worth more than just as good. So
Absolutely.
you got to definitely put some money towards the quality, and that's one thing that people got to understand and get past. Because I would like to see more people go to a Rostic Arms and purchase more firearms and say, yeah, um, God forbid they had to use it, but if they had the story, they say, yeah, this firearm protected my family and myself from home invasion or road rage or whatever. They've got that peace of mind there versus pulling the trigger on something here to go click and not bang.
Hmm.
But that's
Yeah,
just my 2 cents on that, man.
I agree, and I think that's part of my excitement of being a firearms manufacturer is helping people understand the value, right? Like because a lot of people don't even understand, not even just from a quality inspection standpoint or a quality assurance standpoint, but even just basic manufacturing components, right? Like the frame is steel, the slide is steel, it's a stainless steel barrel, the grip is aluminum, it's not polymer. Like it's the weight of the firearm helps fight that recoil. Like people don't understand those things. I run into it in classes all the time where people don't realize the bigger the firearm, the less recoil that you're gonna feel. Right. So when the guy sends his girl to concealed carry class and she's got a 380 that's no bigger than this microphone right here, I'm like, you're gonna have a rough day because we're shooting 100 rounds today. So like you know what I mean? That is the beauty of starting this and letting people witness my journey of a startup is because we get to educate people along the way. Even if you don't choose Rostic Arms, I wanted to show you why a staccato may be a better choice than another entry level double stack 1911. Like I want to help you understand the principle. Once you understand the principle, you should spend your money where you deem appropriate. But me being an up and coming educator that also owns a manufacturing company, I want to educate you on this is the value. This is why this can't cost $300. This is why. Because a lot of people just don't know. A lot of people, they all go bang. And that is the most ignorant perception you could ever have. Like, so, it's an opportunity, man, and that's the thing. I feel like our people never got a real opportunity to grow with a brand. They were already established. And so we're coming into a world that's already established. And that's where you get the stereotypes from. That's where you get the misconceptions from, because we're coming into a world and a culture that was already established, and we're trying to make it fit and seeing where do we fit in. And with Rostic Arms, you don't have to fit in. We can grow together. We can establish things together. So that's kind of my unique advantage point, is people get to see me firsthand as I build this thing out, and they get to learn with me instead of coming to something that's already got 100-year history and trying to fit in and getting laughed at in the process.
True. And one more aspect I will admit, well, not admit, but I'd like to point out about your products is the fact that you're not following this whole meta thing. It's like, uh per example, comps are hot right now and everybody's putting out a comp. I mean, there might be a comp on a shotgun right now. I might not know about it, but everybody's putting comps out. It's like, well, what's the next thing? I mean, is it gonna be like long rifle weapon lights on handguns or something? I don't know. It gets kind of ridiculous. It's almost like, um I'm a gamer, but it's almost like you're playing a game and you're just basically trying to fit the latest loadout because they said it was hot.
Right.
um it kills the creativity and kind of the forward thinking of like, how can we progress in our own realm of firearms, instead of like, well, put a comp on it, put a comp on everything. It's just,
Yeah, but that's because people aren't really, everybody's chasing a dollar. People aren't rooted in anything. And I'm fine going slow because I'm rooted in fundamentals and foundation to try to help our company grow and educate people along the way. Like, sure, I could come out with Rostic Arms compensators tomorrow. Like, I don't even need to do that. I could pay a company that already makes compensators to make compensators and just put Rostic Arms on it instead of Shadow Systems or something like that. Like, and no disrespect, I'm just saying there's plenty of companies out there that their whole goal is just to white label products for anybody who pays them. But I'm trying to go deeper than that. I'm trying to help people understand quality, understand value, understand the difference in materials, like on why you might want an aluminum frame versus a polymer frame, or why you might want, I keep saying frame, I mean grip. But all in all, a lot of people don't even know the difference. They don't know why steel costs so much more than aluminum. Like, they don't know these things. And the average person trying to come into this industry from the Black community perspective, they get mad. They say, oh, people don't know the difference anyway. So then they start, like you said, they start chasing trends, chasing fads, and they just put out whatever is the hot thing right now. I have zero interest in that, right? And part of it is me being an instructor. I built my own client base. So if the internet never rocks with anything I ever produce, like, I'm okay. I'm eating great, right? Like, my community, I really feed my community. And that's kind of, again, that's our advantage, is like, people get to see this and experience this in real time. I'm just letting y'all see it on the internet. But in reality, we're in our community every day fighting to make a difference. And part of that is that education. And you can't educate people if you chase every single fad that's out there, right? People want to throw ports and comps and everything. And I'm like, no, sometimes a Glock is just supposed to be a Glock, man. And it's supposed to run exactly how it was created. You know what I mean? And so we get to educate people on that process. And in turn, that gains us brand loyalty, brand trust, and we can grow something great that is Black owned, but we can put it out to the world. And that's just a beautiful feeling, bro.
facts. I can definitely respect that, man. And you're right. I'd much rather have the mindset of what you're doing versus like somebody sitting on a think tank talking about, we need to put a BBL on a buttstock. We can do it.
Right, for real though.
Let me be quiet because they're probably gonna do that, man. There might be somebody watching in the scenes like, that's a good
Hey,
idea. Yeah, I
man,
don't want to see
I'm good. I'm gonna pass on that.
that. But shoot, all that being said, man, what problems in the firearm industry did Rostic Arms solve that no other company was addressing, and why do you think it was ignored until you stepped in? Because you gave a passionate speech about what your purpose is and how you're giving back. But as always, there's a lot of issues in the firearm industry. So, which ones did you think you touched on to fix?
If I'm honest, I mean, we kind of speak into it already, but it's the ability to engage and grow with the manufacturer, right? Like you can't contact Glock and really expect to hear back from Glock. You know what I mean? Like it's hard for somebody, not for the person who's a home-based FFL who's selling 200 Glocks a year. Of course, they'll email him back. But I mean, the person who's sitting at home, like I don't know the difference between a Smith and Wesson and a Glock. Why is Glock more perceived as this, or why is Taurus perceived as this? It's hard as a new firearm owner to contact these companies and get valid responses, um, because the companies, frankly, are just too big, right? Like, so now you got to go to YouTube and you got to try to trust somebody you never met, you don't know their credentials. You got to just hope that because they got a bunch of views and a bunch of likes that they're telling you the right thing. And I feel like I solved that. Like I solved a little problem that turned out to be a huge problem, which was my students, my community, my city. They wanted, hey, I want to get into AR-15s. What makes a good AR-15? Well, good luck emailing Radian and figuring having somebody who actually is in Radian reach back out to you and help educate you on why their product is a superior product. Like it doesn't really exist that way. And I don't know how long we will exist that way, but right now that's been the biggest thing. People are like, man, I can call Rostic Arms, I can hit the customer service number, and good, there's a 9 times out of 10 you're going to talk to the owner of the company, right? When you get your warranty for your Rostic Arms product, you can have the smallest little issue. You might just have an idea on how to approve a product. When you call, you're gonna talk to the owner. You know what I mean? Like that is something that was missing, is that people, I don't feel too big to people, right? Some people feel like they got to buy something, and if it doesn't work, that sucked. I wish I could have talked to somebody first. Like I wish I could have, whatever. And if you in Michigan at all, like I'm constantly moving around. I'm at ranges with my product. There's so many people who try Rostic Arms products just because we ended up at the same range. Like it's just an experience that you can't get from a bigger manufacturer just because they're already established. You know what I mean? So that's kind of, again, I always say that's our superpower, is you get to watch this thing grow and develop in real time. And if you choose to engage, you get to be a part of that experience.
Yeah, that's really a good point. Especially the just being out in the community and letting people try your firearms, man. Because uh, I've had an experience a couple times in a range myself, and there was some stuff I looked at and I'm like, I don't know about it before I even tried it. And after trying it, I'm like, yeah, it's not too bad. Um,
Hmm.
I might even consider getting the conversion kit for one of my firearms because I tried one. But yeah, I mean that's definitely important too, especially with like you said, you're growing with the brand. Um, who better to push the brand than the customers themselves, especially if they like it, man. You
Right.
gotta have that fan base. Definitely gotta have it. And that's what's definitely gonna make the longevity of your company last. Because if anything, I want your company, Rostic Arms, even Smart Shooters, to like just become like legacy company, uh,
Yeah.
because of the mission. And also because I know we've had Black Firearm Ministries in the past that I don't know if they had the same amount of customer service or quality checking or whatever, but they're not here anymore. I think was it Civilian Arms? I think was one of them years ago.
Mm.
I think that's who it was, but I just know they came out with I think multiple platforms of ARs, and then the quality on them I don't think was that great. Um, and then they're still in the market, but they're not a brick and mortar or even an online company anymore. So that customer service definitely does make a difference. Um, the whole and God, YouTube is notorious for this, but the whole thing about somebody shooting a firearm for a couple of minutes and then they're like, "Yeah, this is great." I would definitely trust my life with it.
Right,
It's
right.
like it is it's cancerous for lack of a
Yeah,
better word.
man.
That's like harsh, but it's true. Like you said
Yeah,
earlier, some people would just it's all about the almighty dollar, and that's what they focus on. That's why they make the videos.
yeah. We try to find our balance in that because we do know our products need YouTube presence. So, because that's YouTube is the number 2 search engine in the world. Like people want to go on YouTube and see our products, see them run, see people's experience with them. At the same time, we found that it's actually added very little value to our company overall. When we send people guns for review, when we give people exposure to our products, it hasn't really performed for us the way it might for a bigger company. And maybe that'll change in the future. But what we found is actually building relationships with people who are taking our products and taking them to their local ranges and doing demo days where they're facilitating customers, potential customers coming out and trying our products is a way better model than somebody just using the iPhone to record themselves shooting and saying it's great, right? Like, um, there's nothing against that, but I think it's just an outdated model. And that's part of our challenge as a new company is like, yo, we're not, for one, we're not huge. I don't have a huge budget. I am a, everyday cat. Like, I don't have a huge budget where I can send out at what these cost per unit. I can't send 200 of these out to influencers. And don't worry about it. Even the influencers you'll see that have them, the content creators, the whatever, they're all on loaner. I didn't give anybody one and be like, because I just had to be honest, I'm not big enough to give you one. I would rather pay you. I would rather pay you for your time, not pay you for
Mhm.
your opinion, but pay you for your time to create the content than give you a free unit because we can't afford to do that. You know what I mean? We're still small, we're still growing. And again, I don't see value in that. I don't see value in giving you something to keep. So let's figure out other ways that we can be mutually beneficial to each other and not even just financially. There's other ways too. And so that's always an interesting thing. We're exploring that, but I could tell you with the rifles, we started off and we were just any influencer who wanted to work with us. We was like, send them a unit, send them a unit. And it didn't really work for us. We got a lot of exposure. What we didn't get was a lot of sales. And so I'm like, at this point, we're just buying exposure. It would be cheaper to just pay for ads, pay for Google AdWords, whatever. Like that would make way more sense than what we're doing now. So yeah, the whole dog and pony trick of send them a gun, they say it's great, and hopefully people buy it. It's just such an outdated model, and we're trying to do something different.
Yeah, I definitely get that. In my opinion, I think one of the biggest problems with that is like you got a lot of people that are stuck in a content creator mindset, and you got people that are influencers, so to speak.
Hmm.
But the problem occurs whenever they're not working in tandem. Like you said, you got people that take your stuff to the range and then they have other people try it. Is that usually recorded? If it's not usually recorded, then yeah, you're definitely not going to get any use out of YouTube because it's not putting content into your pocket without having you having to go do it yourself.
Right.
Um, that's just how I look at it. I really think that should be the model in general. It's like just because you make one video on it doesn't mean that that one video should be the end all be all. There should be follow-up videos on it, especially if something
Absolutely.
was given out like that, because it, time is money and product is free product is lost money, so to speak. So
Absolutely.
there's got to be a return on that. But that's just my opinion, man.
I agree.
Um, in your training experience, what is the biggest lie or misconception about firearms and self-defense that is actually putting people in danger?
Um, Probably that training isn't necessary.
Mm,
That's probably the biggest one that I see. amongst my community. They're like, well, you know, I'll go out there and I'll run a box of ammo, but I'm not gonna get out there and be uh ducking behind barrels, and I'm not gonna be running around with my gun. Uh, my smart shooters community, I email out challenges once a week, and like I got a couple replies when the challenge was simply just to incorporate 50 reps of drawing from your holster every morning. And I got a lot of people found a benefit, but some people didn't. They were like, well, what is the point of this challenge? Like, why are we doing that? Like, if it's time for it to go down, I'm just gonna pull it out and bang. They don't recognize that repetition is key. They don't realize you have to build those neural pathways in your head. So that drawing from your holster is just as easy as turning on and off a light switch. Like they don't understand that. They feel like whenever it's to go down, they're just gonna turn into John Wick and let the people have it. When in reality, as I teach my students, what you don't practice without stress, you'll never effectively do under stress. Because that part of your brain simply just doesn't function once adrenaline starts dumping. And so we are really trying to help people understand the importance and value of training. And that's rather you got a $300 pistol or a $3,000 pistol, rather you got a budget AR or you got the most Gucci AR in the world. Training is the gap. And that's what we're seeing. Like, a lot of people we've seen people with Knights armament rifles, LMTs, LWRCs, and then they come to class and they've never even loaded the magazine before. They bought it because somebody has at a gun show told them it was the best rifle money could buy. And so they bought it. And then they come to me and they were like, how you flip up the sights? And I'm like, what do you mean? How do you flip up the sights? Like, the person you bought it from didn't teach you that? Like, furthermore, you didn't know how to do that before you went and spent 2,900 on this rifle? Like, that's where sometimes it is okay to have a journey. You could start with an Anderson, a PSA, an Aero Precision, a Rostic Arms, and build your way up to the next level and upgrade once you find those deficiencies. But like, people don't know the deficiencies of their pistols or rifles because they haven't shot them. Because once they bought them or they got their concealed carry license, then all of a sudden they were like, well, all you got to do is point and bang. It ain't more than that. And it's like, oh my God, bro, it's so much more than that. That's probably the biggest gap we see, man, is people just understanding why training is necessary. Because I'm telling you, as somebody who's been in an incident where I had to draw my firearm, I thank God that I trained every day and I still, despite me doing my dry fire reps, still just under stress, almost dropped my firearm in that instance. And that could have been a bad day. Just because of the situation at hand and my nerves was so bad. Like, people just really underestimate the value of training and how much training they can do outside of the gun range.
Real talk, man, because like you got a lot of people, like you said, they got that John Wick mentality, but an adrenaline will speak differently every time.
Man, every single time, bro.
Mm. What is it? Fight, flight, or freeze? And if you
Man,
freeze, you
that's
let
it.
go.
And most people you can count on freezing because they've never taught themselves to do anything different.
Easily, yeah. Uh, so I'm gonna skip this question because you answered that fully.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
uh, on this one though, in your view, what separates a gun owner from a truly responsible, prepared defender, and why do so many people fail to make that jump?
I'm gonna sound like a broken record. Training.
Trade.
Training is what separates a gun owner from somebody who's truly prepared to defend themselves. Um, and the why is multiple things, right? Because it's not just the lack of will. A lot of people have the will, but they just don't know where to go. Some gun ranges don't allow you to draw from a holster. You have to be stationary. You can't move. There's a range out here in Michigan, which is the stupidest thing I ever heard, but you can only fire one shot every 3 seconds. Like, what
Every
is
three
that?
seconds.
Every 3 seconds, bro. 1, 2, 3. Between every single shot. What I'm like, bro, what is the
That doesn't make sense.
exactly? But because somebody thought it was a good idea, or whatever. But so there's all of those things and that's what I spend a lot of time and investment educating my students on. It's helping them understand, hey, I go to this range because yeah, it's a 35-minute drive, but that 35 minutes allows me to shoot on the move. That 35 minutes allows me they have 50 barrels out there that I can set up and make barricades for myself to practice shooting from behind cover or to simulate a hallway in a house or
Mhm.
whatever the drill that we're going to run may be. I can actually run a build drill because there's no time limit between shots. They don't have no rapid fire rules, right? Now, there's some rules like no full auto and things like that. And but for the most part, right, that's how I got people to train on outdoor ranges. I actually used to own an outdoor range in Idlewild, Michigan. Um, I ended up selling the land, but I used to own an outdoor range, and the reason I did it, one, because Idlewild, Michigan is historic. It's actually where it was like a resort for African American people when we couldn't go to Vegas because of segregation and things like that. Malcolm X his family still has a lot of property up there. Like they had a lot of clubs on the lake where a lot of musical artists who couldn't perform on the strip in Vegas, like they could go to Idlewild and perform there, and like so, it's got historic value. But the biggest reason I got it was because I was like, yo, I bought 10 acres that we can run and gun however we want to, and we can shoot full auto out there because we're just in the woods. The only rule in the woods is just don't cross your property line. And so, um, I'm saying all of that to say training is the gap, bro. And the lack of preparation is what really separates. I'm a gun owner. I got a gun collection. Come look at all these guns. To somebody who's like, I'm actively prepared to protect and save innocent life, right? Like the biggest gap is training. And I'm not even just training with a gun, training first aid, right? A lot of people don't know how to do
Mhm.
emergency response. Survival skills. A lot of people don't know how to build a fire. A lot of people don't know if you had the shelter in place for 3 days, 5 days, do you have enough supplies in your house? Like all of that training is important. And that's the stuff that I try to push to my students is all of this education is important. This training is important, not just I got a gun. Because your gun collection is cool, but what happens if you have to flee your house? Do you even know what gun is the best gun to take with you? Why it's the best gun? What are you the most proficient with? What do you have the most ammo and magazines available for? Like those types of things are the gaps that separate people who are really prepared versus people who just got cool gun collections.
That's true, man. You mess around, end up just being like the most undertrained loot drop ever, because you ain't got no skills yet. You got, like you said, a
Absolutely.
knight's armament. Jeez.
Absolutely. When you should have
And
just bought a PSA and then invested the rest in ammo and training.
yeah, and I gotta admit, man, because like one of the things that always annoys me is like somehow we ended up getting on this bug out culture. You gotta
Mm,
bug out, bug in. You gotta get home bag. You gotta go away home bag. It's like just make it your EDC. That's all you gotta do. I mean, granted, you don't have to like have a full blown tent and bulk ammo stock in your trunk or whatever. Especially in my case, I got a small car. If I do that every day, number one, going
right.
to work is going to be interesting, and number two, trying to go grocery shopping is going to be even harder. So
Right.
it's just. I think it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with the whole fad or the meta thing. It's like people just want it and it's being pushed to them, but there's no proper education on what it does or what it's for. Because God forbid anybody really has to bug out. Nobody wants to bug out because at that point, that is the absolute last choice that
Mhm.
you have to make. Like the house is dangerous. The house is a environment that can't be lived in, or it's being taken over by, I don't know, a group of people. We got to go. It's not like, oh no, danger's happening. Zombies are attacking my house. We got to bug out. Like
Right.
that's you just got to know when to do it. The training, like you said, training.
That's it, bro. That's and even physical fitness, right? Training.
Oh
Like
God,
I
yeah.
got back in the gym too because I one of my kids ran in the street and I had to sprint to get to him.
Mm,
And that was the first time I had ran a full speed sprint in years. And I was just, it was almost mind blowing and surreal. Like, dang, in my head, I'm like, I always thought I could run as fast as I've always ran.
yep.
When I did it, I was like, oh shit, I can't run fast at all. Like, my adrenaline kicking in and me being scared that he was going to get hit by this car, I was able to put the pedal to the metal, but it was nothing like I thought I was able to do. And
Man.
that's why I was like, bro, I got to get back in this gym. I got to get back to, it's not even about looks at this point. Like, it is about, can I physically train to protect myself and my family? Like,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Like, can you fight? Like, because every fight won't require a gun. And if you think it does, you'll be in prison in no time. Like, can you actually fight? If you're not a fighter, maybe you look into something like jujitsu. Learn how to take people down without striking them. Like, there's so many options out there that it's like it makes zero sense for somebody to just grab a gun and think that they're good. Like we teach a personal and home protection plan, and we've developed a written plan, one for personal and then one for your house, where you and your family actually go through and write out the answers to the stuff that we talking about. Are we
Nice.
prepared if someone was to come and fight it? If we came home and someone was standing at our doorstep, do you know what to do? If you come home and your front door is wide open, like gun culture may say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna pull out my AR-10 that I got sitting under a truck seat, and I'm gonna go do one man CQB." Okay, you know what I mean? Like that's
Right.
the lack of training because the gun guy culture says, "Oh yeah, that's what we do." Smart guy culture is like a trained person is like, "Yo, one, I don't even have to go in there. One, I'm gonna leave, and two, I'm gonna put my tax dollars to use. Call 911 and let them officers go in there. Let them figure out what's going on. That's what I pay taxes for."
And insurance.
Absolutely. Like, man, I'm not shooting nobody over nothing in my house. There is not a single possession. I teach my students and I teach my children. That wasn't the gun, I promise. But it knocked something else over. But I teach even my teenager, man, like, listen, we only protect what we can't replace, man. Like, if it's something we can, if daddy can go buy another one tomorrow, like, let it go. Like, don't, it's not worth your life. It's not worth your freedom. Let it go. Like, I'm not telling them be an easy target, but I'm telling you, if your life is in danger over a material possession, let the possession go. I promise you, I'll buy you another one tomorrow. Like, but that's training. That takes a mindset. That takes a shift in, oh, ain't nobody just gonna take my stuff. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing to me. Like, it takes a swap in our mindset. And that's why we exist, because a lot of people don't understand our culture, our community. I understand. I mean, I was in the streets. I understand what it's like when you stack enough money and you buy your first Rolex. You ready to kill somebody about your Rolex because you know what it took you to get it. Like, I get that. I know what it's like to be harassed by the police. I remember I was 15 years old the first time an officer pulled a firearm on me. And it was only because I was walking home at night. It wasn't even late. It was just wintertime. It was dark. It was like 7 p.m. And he pulled over. Where are you going? I'm like, what do you mean, where am I going? And before I could say another word, he had his gun drawn on me. Right? But I've been through that. And so now I can talk to my students about conflict avoidance, de-escalation, what to do when you're actually in the incident, and how do you keep yourself calm and actually make statements that inform instead of enrage whoever you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lifestyle, bro. Training and education is the biggest separation.
And I like that last part you said. It's a lifestyle, because that's what a lot of people have huge misconceptions about. It's like, I got a gun, I got to shoot everything. No, and
Not at
and
all.
even if you're trying to shoot everything, what makes you think that you're not gonna get shot?
Right.
So
Right.
that always baffles me, man.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
on the culture, man. With black firearm ownership rising rapidly, what is the biggest misconceptions you see about black gun owners inside the broader firearms industry?
That we're not educated
Hmm.
in regards to
Yeah.
firearms. That we all love switches, we all love Dracos, we all love taking FRTs and dumping in the pile of trash. Like, that we don't take training seriously, that we don't take quality equipment seriously, right? Like, no offense, but a Chinese optics company that I will not name may send out a product, and because it's free, people run it. And if that's the exposure that people have to black people in this industry, then they think that we're just running Chinese optics because we don't know the difference. And I absolutely know the difference of reticles and why some optics don't hold zero under certain recoil. And like, I educate myself on more than just what's cool, what did Grand Thumb put on his rifle this month. Like, that's not how all of us get educated. Like, when I deal with these companies, I'm reaching out for the education. I'm not ever saying, yo, can you send me a free product? I'm like, yo, what educational tools do you have? So as an FFL dealer and a firearms instructor, I can explain to people why an EOTech may be better than said lookalike on Amazon for $500 less, right? Like, what is it about your product? And then I'm going to test what they tell me before I teach it. Once I test it, then I teach it. So I get the information, I test it, I teach it. Right? Like, but that's the biggest misconception to me. Because I experience it even when I'm at gun shows, when I'm at different events. Like, people try to play stump the chump. They come asking me questions. They might try to, oh, well, I don't know what MOA means. Can you educate me? But you got every gun badge or every gun pin stapled to, like, bro, you know what MOA means. You just want to know if I know what it means. So let me break it down and explain it to you. Like, let me walk you through that I understand about groupings and why I would want a tight grouping and why I would never post the target where my shots are just all over the place for no reason. Like, but I feel like the misconception is that we're all trying to be influencers, begging companies for free products, and mag dumping FRTs in the trash. Like, that's not all of us. Like, air racking is cool. I love when people make videos on air racking. I'm not an air rack person. I don't see a tactical need to ever have to air rack unless somebody just shot my other arm. But even then, I would try to rack my slide because I run optics on all my guns. So I try to rack it off my belt, off my boot, something, right? Like, I don't feel the need to ever air rack anything. But if that's all I don't even call them our counterparts, right? Because I'm mixed if a lot of people don't know that, and so is my family. So like, I'm not even saying that black and white is a counterpart type thing, but when people see our people specifically handling firearms on the internet, oftentimes it doesn't represent us in an educated manner. It doesn't represent us in a well-informed manner, in a diligent manner. It represents us in I can bump fire a Draco.
Mm.
That's what you see. You know what I mean? Like you don't get to see often, and even the algorithm. I don't think the algorithm pushes Black educated firearms content. I think it
It,
only
it does.
pushes, oh, we just shot a 50 BMG pistol, which is cool, but like where's the person who's teaching you how to break down your firearm and clean it and talking about maintenance and showing you how to properly lubricate it? Like where is that person? We don't get to see those people on Instagram because they just want to show us FRTs, you know?
Yeah,
So
it's how the algorithm is programmed because some channels like I watch a lot of black oriented YouTube stuff. Um, not trying to say obviously, but I mean obviously. But um, when they were going through 2020, some of their stuff wasn't getting the same notification as like their counterpart created content creators on YouTube.
mhm.
Um, and they would also shadow ban a lot of those channels because there'd be times where they go live and then I wouldn't even know until I'm like, oh, it's 8 o'clock. This should be playing right now. And I go on YouTube and I see they're live streaming. But I never got the notification despite the fact that I hit the bell. So there's
Mhm.
there's a lot of what the algorithm wants to show people because of how it's programmed versus like what it should be showing. Even if I don't like let's say I don't know, I haven't watched a video on toys in a long time because I don't really have a need to,
Right,
but
right.
there might be this, up and coming content creator and they're like, yeah, they're building this Lego Keurig machine that it makes actual coffee. It's gonna put it on my timeline because it's being pushed. It's just
Mhm.
the YouTube agenda, unfortunately.
Mhm.
Um, and being in this type of a lifestyle, it makes it harder because especially starting out, but you want to put more stuff up, but the minute that one word is said wrong or one thing is portrayed wrong, they want to take your stuff down.
We
So,
lost our whole Instagram,
man,
whole page,
yeah, that
whole page, 3,000 some people gone.
yeah, and well, I don't want to go too far into that because I know you posted something about it, but
I
uh,
mean, at the end of the day, what it taught us is we have to own our platforms, right? We can't get so comfortable when somebody else can just make a decision and we don't get a chance to even have a conversation. You know what I mean? Like that
yeah,
is ultimately that's what it showed us. And I'm not saying there's platforms out there that we're exploring like Rumble and things like that. But more importantly, we're trying to figure out how do we send our videos, our content, how do we send it directly to our consumers? Right? Like, is there a platform that we can upload a video and just they're just the host and then we just take that link and send it directly to our consumers? Because unlike a lot of content creators. I started off trying to reach everybody, but at my maturity now, I've realized that I don't need to reach everybody. There's
mm,
absolutely no reason to. Like, I have a direct client base that I'm reaching. Now, of course, I want to acquire new customers. I want to acquire new fans. I want to acquire new friends in the industry. And that's why we still do social media. But minding a business that directly pays us, like we're focused more on how do we own the platforms and how do we communicate directly to where nobody can ban us. And that is more of what I am trying to establish with Rostic Arms is like, and there's Black companies out there that are working on those things because I went and sought them out. Like and even AI, there are AI platforms that are two-way friendly. And
yeah,
trying to learn how do we maximize those things so that way Instagram, because Instagram doesn't even have a real person doing it. They're using AI that says, oh, he said sale, ban it. he said at one point, YouTube last week, they were just flagging anytime I said Rostic Arms in a video. Not even I didn't say anything was for sale or anything. If I said Rostic Arms, they flagged it. And I had to go back and fight all of those. And thank God I got friends in the tech space that I was able to finally figure out, how do I contact a real person about this?
Yeah.
And I was able to get all my videos back. And I was like, man, this is crazy, because they were deleted like half our channel.
Yeah, I don't think you're the only one that went through that. It's crazy because, like, in your case, you could say something like rustic armament. You could be talking about like a knight's ball and chain or a broadsword or something. They're gonna try and block
Right,
you, which is crazy. You know,
right. And
it's
that's the way the game is played, bro. But we know that, right? Like, part of my experience of how I grew up, and I won't call it a black experience, I just say it's my experience. But growing up in the hood, growing up in public schools, growing up in, I mean, I dropped out of college twice. Like, I there's so much adversity that you face, that whereas that would have devastated somebody else, I was just like I'm used to it. I expect the blow to come. And
mm,
now I'm just like, so, okay, so what else we doing? I'm sitting down with my team and they like, I'm just so frustrated. We put so much work in. And I was like, yeah, but where the new page at? Like, who started it? Like, can we get started now? Like, what can we do? Uh I need another person. Send a DM to everybody that you know that I had a relationship with, and tell them, hey, I lost my page. I was calling people. I called, shout out to Matt from MJD Solutions. Like, he called me like, bro, did you know your page was down? I was
wow.
like, bro, no, I mean, I did, but I just felt like there was nothing I could do about it. He was like, well, let me know when you upload something that you want me to share, and I'll share it for you. Right? You were one of them people. Like, listen, all right, cool, I got you. Every chance I get, I'm gonna just throw it up there and remind people that you got a new page. Like, I'm so used to adversity that I was like, you can't let that stop you. So they deleted our page, so what? They flagged our videos. So what? They delete the channel. So what? Start another one. Because now we starting from experience. We ain't starting from scratch. Like,
Right.
so now the content I'm gonna produce is gonna be even better. Now the people I may find may not have been able to find me the first time because of shadow banning or anything else. So, like, you just have to roll with the punches on that type of stuff, but understand that, like, this is what the game come with. When you say, I want to be great, I don't want to be average, you should expect from that moment on that adversity is coming your way.
Yep. I think that's kind of a direct quote from I can't remember if it was Robert Kiyosaki or this book I read a while ago, Good to Great. Basically gave you the difference between the man who's already built himself up to the point where he's at the top of his kingdom, if you will, versus the person who's always been kind of down below. The person who goes through adversity down below, they don't know how to recover and they start freaking out and emotions take over, versus the person who's been at the top and gets knocked back down. They're like you said, okay, cool. But they have the experience to build themselves back up no matter what because
Absolutely.
they they know the pathway. You know,
Absolutely.
that's one thing in general anybody can work on. It's just knowing how to get from point A to point B, and if you fall down, getting back up.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's nothing. I watched one of my older brothers, I watched him do 15 years in prison. I watched him do 7 for a bank robbery. He came home for 2 weeks and went right back for a different situation. And then I
Wow.
watched the moment he decided that he was going to change his life. And now I'm talking about high 6-figure earner, uh, living his life, got custody of all his kids, like, I mean, and just living. And it's like, it's people who never went to prison who be out here every day. And one little thing happened and they like, oh my God, I can't take it. And it's a mindset that I don't get. And, a lot of my friends, I'm kind of that person in our circle. Once they go through something, they call me like, all right, come on, give me that talk, because I don't know what to do. And I'm like, good. If you don't know what to do, that's the first step to figuring it out. You got to
Yeah.
admit, I don't know what to do. So then we walk our little process. But like, man, to anybody who may come across this, yo, like, you got to expect those things to happen. Like, you have to expect something to go wrong. And it's like, it's okay. That's a sign that you're headed in the right direction. If nothing's ever happened to you, there's a good chance you're going in the wrong direction. Like, because something should be happening.
Yeah, and it's kind of off topic, but you got a lot of the male how to say this without even getting banned, because you made a good point about that. The rate of men zeroing themselves out because of failure, or because of something happening in their life, or just a change that they weren't ready for or had a backup plan for. I mean, it's already high enough.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
we and I know one of the biggest problems is sometimes we as men, we don't really have the same social group that we had like whenever we were teenagers or whatever. I mean, I could be wrong, could be right, but nonetheless,
Right.
if you work so much, like you got a 9 to 5 or whatever, and you're working and going home and working and going home, and then you get a divorce and you got to start fighting for custody of your kids. You got to go through a battle with your wife, or whatever the situation may be.
Mm-hmm.
You always got to continue to fight, because as long as you got air in your lungs, and you can get up every day instead of staying horizontal, being vertical, that's what matters.
That's it, man. And if God woke you up, that's proof that you got purpose, man. Because the moment you truly don't have a purpose, you won't wake back up. That's the way I
Yeah,
look at it. If I woke up, that means it's something I'm supposed to do today. And it's my job to get up and go figure out what it is.
that's what it boils down to, man. That's
Yeah,
that's really
man.
good advice. I don't mean to take up all your time, man. We still okay on time, or?
We good on time, bro. I am good for another 90 minutes, brother. I cleared out my day because I'm on the Black Powder podcast, man. That right there, let me tell you, that right there, man. I made time for this, brother.
I appreciate it, man. I mean, like I said, I'm still growing. I'm still trying to get people out there. I could have. I think I realized a long time ago I could have did it the easy way. I could have just said, "Hey, I got a gun," and everybody could have been like, "Cool, click, follow." But I don't know, man. I think I've always been the type of person that wants to get the actual person behind the product, and the face behind the manufacturer, versus like, show me what you got. Okay,
Right,
cool. Because one of the biggest problems in the firearm industry is the fact that um, a lot of people think that because you're a gun owner, you don't really care about the norms of society. So, for example, the school shootings, or like the increase of violence, or take your pick on what's going on. The average person, when they find out that you own a firearm, they're over here like, "Oh, okay, your answer is to shoot up everything." Like, no, we're actual
not at
people
all.
too.
Right, I go through that a lot, because I had a rougher upbringing, and I did grow up below the poverty line, and I did grow up in the hood. Like now, I have a level of credibility where I can go back to my hood and stop something from happening. Somebody can call me and be like, "Hey, such and such is he tripping? It's about to go down." And instead of calling 911, I can go and I could go diffuse the situation. You know what I mean? And that's such a blessing, bro. Like, it's such a blessing to be able to actually be in my community. Like, um, God bless youth who lose their life early. One of my son's teammates on his football season was killed this year. And you know, there was an older lady who bumped into me in the store, and she was like, "You're part of the problem." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She was like, "You're dealing death and you're inspiring these kids to do this, this, and this." I said, "Absolutely not." I said, "Probably one of the biggest misconceptions is that kids need to just be taught stay away from guns, right? Like nobody's educating them on, okay, so when is appropriate to get into guns? And who do I go? Who do I talk to when I'm into guns? The world is teaching them anyway. Our culture is
Facts.
the only culture that tends to believe that we're going to let the world teach them and somehow it's going to work in our favor. That doesn't work in any facet of anything. Like we have to educate our own. And
Mm.
you know what I mean? We have to be involved in our community. And it broke my heart when my son's teammate lost his life. Like, cause I was just like, this is crazy. Like this guy was like 15. Like, this is nuts. And to your point, people do think you like they think that because we're gun guys, we want to go, oh, well, guess you should get a gun and go get them back. Like, and it's like, no, nobody thinks that way, bro. My heart is broke just the same. This was a kid on my son's football team. Like, that's gut wrenching. What stopped that from being my son? Like, nobody out here is just condoning gun violence. What I am an advocate for is when there is no other option, when I'm in such danger that I do not even care about the consequence because I have to fight to stay alive. I want the
Mhm.
most effective tool possible to protect me and mine. And it's not always this, but if it's this, I want to have it and I want to have the best one and I want to be trained and proficient with it. And I want that for everybody I love. So when stuff happens, they don't be like, well, call Daryle. No, when stuff happens, they can diffuse the situation on their own and God forbid, protect themselves on their own. But we're not just heartless people out here dealing tools of death, as this lady tried to put to me. Like, nah, we care about the community. We out in the community. We sponsoring cookouts in the community. We sponsoring block parties in the community. We doing free education. There's a time I pulled up in the hood. I set up a fold-up table and a screen and a projector, and I ran the projector off my truck, and I was just teaching free class in the hood. Before I knew it, there was 20 people outside just watching me teach firearm safety. Like, we're not just existing selling guns and we don't care what happens. Like,
Yeah.
I'm doing more than just passing out gun locks because I'm so tired of people thinking gun locks are going to save our community. Like with every gun lock that we do give, because if people ask us, we'll give them one, but we also give them a small packet that we made, or a one-page sheet with the universal safety rules and information on training on the back. Like we care about our community. And I think that every manufacturer at the heart of it will tell you the same. Now, they may not care about every community, but that's the beauty of dealing with a Black-owned manufacturing companies. I care about our community.
Mm.
And by our community, I'm really open to anybody who's all about responsible gun ownership and everybody going home safe because everybody deserves to go home safe. Like, and that's that, man. But that kind of touched the nerve when you said that because so many people think that, oh, that's the guy at the gun shows. He just dealing these guns and he don't care who. Like, no, bro, we run background checks on everybody. Everybody does a 4473. Like in Michigan, we have to register firearms and dealers have to turn in a registration. Everybody's pistol gets registered. There's nobody I'm making exceptions for. Like,
Yep.
you know what I mean? We care about our community and don't think because the media has tricked you into thinking every Black person with a gun is evil.
Yep.
Don't let that make you think that there's not people out here doing good. Like, don't make you think that I'm out here talking to our high school graduates like, yo, have you ever thought about a career in law enforcement? No, I don't want to be the police, but you love guns. You want to help people. You never thought about how different a traffic stop would be if you were the cop instead of some random person that we none of us know. You never thought about that? Like I'm trying to change the perspective and the perception around law enforcement and even military. Like our people need somebody who looks like them, comma, and can relate to them to help them understand that there's more to this life. And that's what Rostic Arms and Smart Shooters is all about.
Mm. That's what's up, man. And honestly, if you're going to push people to go into law enforcement, I would also push them to become lawyers as well, because when it comes to
Yeah.
you know the black social class of law enforcement, you don't really see a whole lot of, how to say this without ruffling a lot of feathers. I guess I'm just have to ruffle the bird then. You don't see a
Yeah.
lot of effective black lawyers.
Hmm.
Everybody praises Ben Crump and everything, but at the end of the day, Ben Crump he's out there making settlements. He's not out there trying to actually put forth a fight. And because of the fact that he is one of the most quote unquote prevalent black lawyer faces out there, that's all society really focuses on. But if you compare him to what Johnny Cochran was back then, it's light years apart. When Cochran died, we lost a major arm of the black lawyer class. You can easily say there's the Cochran firm, but I don't know if the firm is doing the exact same thing that he was trying to do, because he was trying to do some serious things. Um, we don't really have that anymore. Just like we are trying to catch up with firearms again in general. Uh, Black history of firearms goes real deep. There wouldn't
Real
even
deep.
be a black history if it wasn't for firearms in general. We just got jacked up whenever I think everybody was like, "Oh, gangster rap is a bad thing," and you aren't a man if you had to carry a firearm around. And then the churches are preaching against it. You had other people preaching against it, completely forgetting about the fact that the civil rights leaders actually had to have firearms to protect themselves. But you know,
Bro,
it's
bro.
just they don't look at that.
Teach that, man. I was just learning about this group of deacon defenders that were
Yep,
deacons that
deacons of
actually put,
defense.
yeah, yup. I was
Hmm.
learning about the deacons of defense, man, and that how they protected Martin Luther King and how they made sure he was armed and he had a nice set of protection in his house.
Hmm.
And I was just like, yo, this is crazy that somehow our people got tricked into believing that firearms are irrelevant to us and we don't need them. And only thugs carry guns. And it's like, no, bro. Like this is a lifestyle we all should be striving for.
Yeah, and you know about Bumpy Johnson.
Yeah, I know about Bumpy Johnson.
So you know about him and Malcolm X, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, that's one thing that always is interesting to me. It's like whenever it comes to gangster stuff, man, your Al Capones and your Lucianos and everybody else gets pushed, but um, sometimes people don't like it whenever you start looking into black gangsters and they're like, "Ah, he was a criminal." Well, what were the other ones?
Right, right. You know what I
You know.
mean? And nobody talks about even the Bumpy Johnson giving away turkeys. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like for Thanksgiving or like pulling up in Harlem with box trucks full of food. Like, you know what I mean? I think we all aspire, especially if you come from that lifestyle in that community, we all aspire to go reach back and give back. But I think we have to open our eyes up to there are other ways we can give back other than just passing out free food or passing out gun locks, right? Like
Hmm.
that's why I said for every concealed carry, specifically concealed carry class I teach, I always have one free student come. I always find some way to reach out to somebody, a single mom who went through tragedy or somebody. I figure out who it is, I tap in, and I always make sure that we have one free seat in that class for somebody to come get protected because money shouldn't be the barrier. You know what I mean?
Right.
And well, although this is what I do for a living and I can't afford to do everybody for free, just one person every single class to make sure that I sponsor a seat. And then other local businesses will chip in and they'll sponsor seats. They'll say, okay, if the class is 150, I'll give $75 towards a seat. And then we'll do a half off special or you know what I mean? Like there are other ways to give back, even from a firearms perspective and we
Hmm.
need the community to be open to that. It's not, we're not going to go out and tell the world no guns. We're not going to do that because I don't believe in that. But what I will do is say, I believe in educated gun ownership, and let me show you where to start with the education. Like, I'm big on that.
Yeah, education is definitely needed. And I'll admit the one thing that kind of worries me about your community leaders like yourself and a bunch of other people that had the same mindset is the fact that it kind of, and I don't know what it is about leadership in general, because whether it's Malcolm Martin, even if you take Alexander the Great, for example, I always use him as an example. When Alexander the Great died, nobody really had any forethought on how to keep all the Alexandrias running. It was just like, oh shit, what do we do now? Then they put, like, I think one of his relatives in charge, and he wasn't as great as the great. So
Hmm.
everything started falling apart. Um, and I think that's unfortunately just kind of the nature, or at least what it seems, of like leadership in communities, because the one thing I worry about is when one great leader dies, like let's say, for example, Nipsey Hussle, right? And he was doing a lot of big stuff. He was doing a lot of great things. Taken down by like some random dude who wasn't on the same level.
Hmm.
He just, hating. And I think he's still got his stuff going on, but like as far as like trying to make sure his legacy and his dream are being pushed forward, it was kind of came to a halt. How do you build on that? How do you just have more than just a king center, because how do you live off of more than just your father's name? How do you um make sure the legacy is maintained while continuing to build on the legacy instead of just on Martin Luther King's child? No shade to them, but it's like, there's got to be, in general, as far as leadership, there's got to be something that will maintain that mentality and make sure that it's continued to be pushed through the community instead of like, well, he's gone now. What do we do? She's not here anymore. What do we do?
Right.
So and it's just a worry, but at the end of the day, it's still got to be done. Definitely got to
Yeah,
be done.
man. And like one of my favorite quotes was from Tupac. And he said, I might not change the world, but I might spark the brain of the person that changes the world. Like,
Mm,
that's how I look at what I'm doing. I might never be as big as Knights Armament, Daniel Defense, but to that one little black boy in the hood right now who's so interested in guns and there's nobody around to teach him anything responsibly, I might spark the brain that man, what? There's a dude who from where I'm from and he make them? Like, and that may be the spark he need where he becomes the next Daniel Defense. He becomes the next night. Like, my blessing is my blessing, period. Like, I'm already blessed. The fact that I went from working 90 hours a week in a manufacturing facility to owning my own manufacturing company. And this is all I do all day, every day. Like, I don't have a day job or nothing. It's just this, trying to actively educate my community and equip them responsibly. Like, that's such a blessing. And that blessing just keeps growing and growing. But I'm okay if it's not me who breaks through the ceiling. If I become the stepping stool and the next person steps on what I built and they break through the ceiling, that's a blessing, bro. That's a blessing. And that's where I find my peace in it. Like, I don't ever want to go out like Nip. And that's what my training for is for. Like, that's what my, situational awareness is for. Like, I never want to go out that way. But I also never worry about, like, if something happens before I complete the mission. Like, I built such a foundation where somebody can step on what I've built and they could break through the ceiling.
nice. That's what it's about, man.
Absolutely.
This is gonna be an interesting one for you. What are Black firearm owners still missing when it comes to discovering or supporting Black-owned firearm manufacturers, and how do we fix that today?
Two things. We are missing I want to word it right. We are missing the education on why something being Black owned actually matters.
Mm.
We are being told and taught that color shouldn't matter. Like, that's a big thing, especially in West Michigan where I'm at. Like, I remember being in meetings and people would be like, I don't even, why do we have to do DE and I training? Like, I don't even see color. And I'm like, bro, that's like the most racist thing you could ever say to me. Like, now you don't even want to acknowledge my difference. I want you to acknowledge my differences. I just don't want to be treated like shit because of my differences.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to acknowledge the fact that, yes, I am a Black man. That means something, right? And I try to teach that to my young homies, man. Like, that means something to be a Black man in your community, in your city, in your circle of influence. Like, and that doesn't make you anything less than anybody else. Like, I think people really have to understand the importance of what it means to be Black owned. And a lot of people, especially and that, I guess, in the regard our counterparts, I hate saying that, but they may say, well, it shouldn't even matter. But if everybody looks like you, of course it doesn't matter. If you know what I mean, if you can't see the difference between who's creating what you need and that nobody likes you does it, of course you don't see why that's important. But again, for what we just talked about, for that young Black man in the hood, is that for somebody who's sitting in their room right now who loves firearms, and it's just like, man, I could never be the next Smith and Wesson. I could never be the next Sig Sauer. They can look at Rostic Arms and be like, it's possible. You know what I mean? There's a group of guys that I mentor that are all becoming FFLs, right? Because I don't gatekeep, I don't hide knowledge. Just because you do what I do don't mean you can do what I do. So I'm not gonna hide information from you. I'm not gonna hand you everything about my business either. You got to do some homework and figure out how to make it yours. But the basics of how to get started, how to become a manufacturer, which is different than a retailer, um, why you should or shouldn't get your SOT, like those types of things I can help you with. How do you source parts, right? Like, I didn't start off with a whole bunch of CNC machines and stuff. I'm grateful I have the machines I have access to and the friends that I have that have machine shops and things that could help me get rolling. I'm so thankful for them. But it's possible when you don't have everything you think you need, if you have the right information, that you can make this happen for you. You know what I mean? And I'm really, really big on giving that information to the people that desire it, right? And excuse me, I think that's probably the biggest thing that would help people understand, and even to support is, first they have to be bought into the idea that Black owned is important. Being able to see somebody who looks like you build something great does something different to your insides, like, you know what I mean? And then there's the way that, how do we promote it? How do you push without following the status quo, right? Like, so if I follow the status quo, I should be shipping everything we build. I should be shipping out a bunch of free guns and just writing it off on taxes and putting it on YouTube and hoping that it sticks. I think that's boring. That's lame. That's garbage. And it's the model that's been the model for so long that companies don't even know if it works anymore. Like, go watch Watchtower Firearms, who, granted, they just got bought now, but like went into bankruptcy, millions of dollars in debt. But every influencer had that $5,000 2011 that they were pushing, right? Like, let's look at Live Free Armory, who had ARs, had a 2011, and they were white labeling, making guns for other companies. and now they so far in debt that they filing for bankruptcy. Like, it's proof that the model doesn't work. You can ship out free guns all day. And because we don't have black manufacturers like that, people never look at it from a manufacturer standpoint.
Mm.
People don't look at it as, if this hypothetically is $1,900 cost per unit and we're selling them for $2,500. Every rifle or every one that I send out is a potential 2,500, but it's a guaranteed 1,900 that I'm sending out. And writing that off on taxes is not a sustainable business plan. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because some people just think,
Yeah,
oh, you just write it off. You just write it off. It's like, bro, you
that
don't
part.
make money that way.
It's all you're doing is building yourself, or not even building, you're digging yourself into a deficit because, okay, cool, you can write it off, but number one, you got to wait to the end of the year to get the money back if you get the money back. And number two, it's not really gaining you anything. You're taking losses. Just it's was it a slow death, if you will?
Right. Right. Death by 1,000 paper cuts.
That's
So
what, yeah, that was the quote I was thinking of. Yeah.
you're just sending stuff out there and hoping that people like it enough and trust the person you sent it to enough to buy one. And I'm just like, okay, so maybe that's one strategy. What's the other strategies?
Mhm.
Like, and that's what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm buying more land so I can go back to having my own range. And like, I think there's something to be said for like companies like Staccato having Staccato Ranch, and they can have events and hold their own things and invite the community out and have private events for their new releases and things like that, because it gets the community involved. It's something more than just passing out free stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be more than that. And if it's not more than that, then good luck staying in business, right? Like, that's just what it is. And so I'm really trying to figure out how to, especially when people see black owned, because when they see that you're black, I think even we as black people have unconscious biases. Like, we think, oh man, a black dude and he making guns, something got to be suspect. I don't know if the quality is, or he
That
probably
icing,
making,
the
yeah, you know what
icing
I
smoothing
mean,
up.
or
Yeah.
he making 3,000% profit on. And it's like, no, bro, it's actually the bigger companies doing that. The the Palmetto State armories that are actually owned by holding companies and investment firms, they can do that. The average person that I've known that has been a black firearms manufacturer, and not even just firearms, but holsters or whatever, you name it, they're really just trying to make enough margin to stay open. Like, none of them are getting rich off the people, taking advantage of the people, because we don't have the resources to do that. In order to really do that, you got to be able to mass produce. You got to have the machinery, the labor force, whatever. You have to be able to produce something for 9 cents that you sell for $900. Like, you know what I mean? We don't have that capability yet. But because our people don't think about the manufacturing side of things, they think about the consumer side of things. And so they think, I just want the cheapest thing possible, but it's gotta be nicer than any 2011 I ever ran, but I want it for $500. And it's like, bro, nothing works that way. Nothing
Mhm.
works that way. So that's probably the things that I really would say is that people, we got to figure out ways to push our brands, to help discover our stuff without just being like, well, give me your free gun and I'll promote you. Like,
Yeah.
nah, bro, there's got to be a better way to get ourselves out there. And I think we're finding it with community engagement, but I think we're trying to figure out now is, how do we scale? How do we partner with gun ranges to scale our products, to scale our presence in the community? Like, demo days are going good for us, partnering with ranges and being like, hey, Rostic Arms is going to be here this day. come try out a rifle, come try out a handgun. They're taking orders on the spot. You can, if you try a demo and you like it, you could buy that exact demo on the spot through the range that we're at, not through us. So that way they're making money. They're getting memberships to their range. They're getting exposure while we're getting exposure. We're getting trust from the community because they're actually running our products, feeling the difference, talking to the owner, the guy who designed it, talking to the guy who Cerakoted it, talking to the guy, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we're trying to figure out how do we give more of those experiences, because that moves way more units for us and moves the bottom line way more than just sending free guns in the mail and hoping that their following likes us.
So I did an interview a while back with Henry Pope of Buy a Bullet, and I also did an interview with his ambassador too, um, Will Robinson from well, he's no longer a run and gun, but I think it's like the God, I can't remember what his channel is, but Will is serious. He's a
Okay.
competition shooter, right? Um, but also being the ambassador for Buy a Bullet, I think that also helps because he's mobile and spreading a lot of information about the product that he's representing. Um, I think that would probably help you out as well. Because I mean, you yourself are excellent ambassador. You can do the problem, you're good at PR because I remember you saying that on we were on Armed Atlas's channel a long time ago. You're like, yo, who's this man's PR rep? I'm like, damn, I gotta get better. But I'm just looking at like a lot of things that I've seen in the past and a lot of things that are going on now. Like you got the We the People podcast.
Yeah, shout
That
out to We the People.
right. But you see what they did. They took their following and their channels and kind of combined them into one to help better the community. I
Mm-hmm.
know there's a gun club out there right now. I'm not gonna name them, but they they're having a big issue getting in contact or getting more people in general.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they also have an issue reaching out to the younger generation of Black firearm owners too. And it's mainly because they're not utilizing their social media presence, number one. And number two, they have people in the club that have a social media presence, but they're not really allowing them to utilize it.
Right.
Um, all in all, I think as far as content creation and quote unquote influencing, if you will, eventually it's just going to end up becoming an in-house thing because it makes more sense for somebody to represent your brand and not try and hold you at, lack of a better description, not trying to hold you at gunpoint, trying to shake more money out of you just for a one-time thing versus like somebody who can go to the shows or somebody who can like who's good on the microphone, somebody who can make time to do interviews and everything else and record footage of them doing things because um people mainly know the creator versus the brands that they are representing or like the brands that they're
Right.
stopping.
Right.
So I know if I go to, and this is my 2 cents on it, man, because I mean I could easily see you could solve this easily. But I think when it comes to that, it's like people are more so expecting of what is such and such going to put out this week versus, man, I really hope they talk about this comp that just came out, or man, I really
Right.
hope they talk about this firearm that comes out. It's the following and then the subcategories. You got to
Mm-hmm.
get it to where everything is mashed together. So it's a subcategory of Rostic Arms. At least just looking at it like that, man.
Okay.
I could be wrong, could be right. It's just take it or leave it. That's just how I look at stuff because I really think internal influencing or internal content creation is where it needs to be at. Even X Tech is doing it now, man. You got uh I think they just started a podcast. And it's on YouTube. So they're
Mm.
they're like doing stuff inside. Um, Even if you take like oh God, what is it called? Warrior Poet Society, right?
Yeah.
They basically kind of did the same thing that We the People podcast did. But instead of like staying mainly to YouTube, they took their following and said, we're still going to put out YouTube videos every now and then, but we're going to show you what we have going on our own platform. So they no longer have to worry about being shadow banned or anything else because they created their own platform. And like you can stream that sucker on Amazon right now.
Right.
It's it's $100 subscription. Stream it on Amazon. You get like a multiple network of different creators. So it's
Yeah,
like
man.
they found a solution. It's
That's why I'm smiling, because I'm not saying when I was smiling, I'm not alluding that you're wrong. I'm alluding that you're very right. Because that is ultimately our plan, is that we got to believe in our brand so much that we push. And I'm not saying that influencers aren't important. I'm not saying that they're all corrupt. I'm not saying that they don't have their place. But I'm just saying that there's got to be a better way than just dishing out free stuff over and over and over. Like, and that's what we're looking at. Like, I do think there's something to be said about the person who influences their own product, right? Like, nobody's gonna believe in our product more than we do, and that's
mhm.
okay. And there's a way to do that without being shilly, without being like, well, people are like, of course they believe in their own product. That doesn't convince me. I'm like, yeah, okay, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't push our own product either, right? Like, and so all of that being said, I do think that companies have to invest more in, like, I'd rather almost have a division of Rostic Arms that's like a talent agency to where we
Mhm.
recruit and find our own influencers, and then we build them up to be trusted, but they only do Rostic Arms products. All right, like they're hired to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we hire talent professionals to help build them up, to train them, to show them how to create the content that people want to see. And I think there's a lot to what you said, and I think that's kind of the future of what would make more sense to drive people. Because everybody, I think people overly push the honesty thing, right? Like, I think people are like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, well, watch my review if you want an honest review. And it's like, I think everybody's being honest for the most part, right? Like, people are like, oh, I'll send the product back to a manufacturer, and I'm like, that doesn't make you honest. That just means you told what happened. Like, and when I watch reviews, I'm looking for, how did the product run? I'm looking for, can you articulate the advantages or benefits or experience that you're having while running that firearm or that compensator or whatever? Like, I'm looking for that. Can you really quantify the experience for me? I've never ever just been like, I feel like he's honest, but he's not the most honest. So whatever he says doesn't matter. Like, I guess I've never felt that.
Mhm.
So, there's a million ways we get to do this. And that's basically my bottom line, is we have to figure out how to get our product out to the community, spread awareness of our brand without necessarily just being like, here's a gun, here's a gun, here's a gun, and hoping for the best.
Makes sense. Definitely makes sense. So, what other challenges have you faced as a black firearms manufacturer that people would never believe unless they experience themselves?
Racism from my own people. You would be surprised at how many of our own people, meaning black people, because I'm black and it's hard to believe that I am at the head of what they see. They question my credentials, they second guess our quality, they try to play on my intelligence. Um, it's a lot of that. And I feel like it's because they've never seen somebody black, especially black with the background that I have. They've
Mhm.
never seen that person do what I'm doing. Right. And I had to even realize, to me, what I'm doing is regular. Like, to me, I haven't even begun to hit what I would consider the peak of what we do. I'm just trying to get this off the ground. But to the average person who may have had the thought, but never even had the first step to get started, what I'm doing is a big deal to them. And rather than ask how, a lot of people just don't believe that it's me. So then they're like, well, who's really behind Rostic Arms here? Who's Rostic? That's who I want to meet. And like, bro, that's my last name. Like, you know what I mean? Go check Google, Facebook, whatever you got to check. But it's me, bro. No, okay, now that's like, again, shout out to my team. It's not just me. I do have a good team of people. I have a good mentor who's not black, who taught me everything that I needed to know as I got in this game. That's why I don't think color should be a separator, but I do think it's a factor that should be acknowledged as important, the same as what a company believes and stands for, what they don't stand for. Like all of that should be important to where you spend your dollars at. But getting back to the question, like, it's amazing how people will try to disregard what I'm doing because it's hard to believe that a black guy is doing it. And it's crazy because, believe it or not, that's something I don't experience too much from any other race. Like, people are usually impressed by our products, impressed by the quality, um, and I'm always throwing deals, and so the cost is like, oh, I get it. Our people will come along and it's like, oh my God, this is how much your rifle is $900. I just bought one off PSA for 5. Why is yours 9? And then I proceed to explain the difference. And they like, well, who's really behind what you doing? And I'm like, what do you mean who's behind what I'm doing? Like, it's me, bruh. And so that's like, you would almost have to see it to believe it. And when I'm at gun shows and stuff, like I remember one of my mentors, we was just laughing about it because one dude he wanted a Rostic Arms. He looked it up, he looked at it, picked it up, handled it, everything felt good. And then he went to another table because they had AR brand, I won't say. But it was only 350 for the AR. And and then he proceeds to come like back to our table and be like, see, man, that's the problem with our people, bro. Like, you know, I would have shopped with you if you had some even 450. I would have shopped with you, but bro, you more than double the cost of this. And my mentor and the people in our row was just laughing because he wasn't even educated enough to know the difference. Like, you just bought a piece of shit, bucko. Like, I wouldn't have spent 150 on what you just bought, but he doesn't know better. Like, he wasn't educated enough. And in his mind, and the story, that's the sad part. The story he's gonna tell from the gun show is that the black guy tried to rip him off and that some other guy sold him a rifle for $500 less. And again, it's the same thing, right? You know what I mean? And so that's probably, I'm like, bro, you have to see it to believe it. But some of our people, man, it's a challenge. Like helping them understand. Like, bro, nobody was trying to rip you. And I knew I couldn't even have a conversation with this guy. Like he wasn't even the type. And so that's just hard when it's like it's your own people. Like I don't experience too much racism. There's some towns I go to where I expect it. I don't experience too much. Lately, it has been from our own people that say to make something like this, you couldn't have been the brains behind it. So what company do you work for? And I'm like, this crazy, bro. Like my company literally is in my garage and in my basement, bro. Like, you know what I mean? So that's probably the hardest part when it comes to what I experience as a black manufacturer. Is just my own people don't believe in me. They believe that something's got to be wrong with it, or I can't truly be the face of it. Like I can't be the person behind it.
I think that comes from history because that's what kind of used to happen back then. In order for a black company to even have some sort of credibility or like to even start, you know, getting a foot forward as far as doing business in general, they had to have a white person represent them. And I think because there are some people that do have that they still have a slave mentality. You know, we've become progressive as a people, but nonetheless, it's like you still have some people that have slave mentality, and they're like, "Well, you're not smart enough to do this, so who do you really represent?" Or that's great. It looks like you came up with it, but can you cut me a deal? You know,
Oh, I
because
didn't even get to the cut me a deal, people.
yeah, it's
Mhm.
and I know I still have intentions on buying a rifle, but I know I'm not where I need to be at right now in order to get it. But I also do know that if I'm going to buy another rifle, it's going to be quality. It's not going to be like another PSA or, you know,
Mhm.
a $300 special or whatever. You know, it just to me it's like I get that there's stuff out there that people can buy easily, but it goes back to the question that I asked earlier. It's like how much is your life worth? Because you could take it to the range and have fun with it, but at the end of the day, if you need to protect your life, and let's say you had a range day and you didn't clean it, um, that rifle should still be able to function that day or
Right.
that week or whatever. It shouldn't be, oh, there's a bear outside. I don't know, I'm extreme circumstance, but nonetheless, oh, there's a bear outside. I need to shoot it because it's breaking down my door. And then you pull the trigger and it doesn't go bang, it goes click click. It's like now you see the difference between that pot metal you
Mhm.
just bought versus like, you know.
Right. Right. You're right.
Yeah.
It's life, man. It's life.
Yeah. And speaking of your firearms, man, I mean, I know you had the AR-10 or is it the RA-10, not the AR-10?
It's an AR-10. It's called the Kumar. It's named after my brother.
Can we see it?
Yeah, I got you. I was trying to figure out how to turn the blur off of my screen so it don't blur it out. But it's right here. I got this is the 18-inch variant. It also has a 16-inch variant. But yeah, man, it's I was actually pretty proud of this, man. And I named it after my brother who got killed 2 years ago. Um, and I just it was natural progression when you make AR-15s. Naturally, people want AR-10s, but even deeper than that, again, I'm just exploring the realms of what's possible. Like, you know what I mean? I remember the first prototype we did of these. Like, I had a 80% jig in a router, and I was just like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I remember being like, and they was like, well, you could just sell the prototypes. And I'm like, yeah, but I hope nobody opens it. Cause yeah, I mean, it looked crazy. But like just looking back to how far we came. Um, and I actually just did an update video on these because a lot of people are asking me, where's the AR-10? And I had to just really be honest and be like, they're done, they're ready, they're available. But right now, these are what has everybody's attention. And we can't afford to put out both. Like,
That makes
so,
sense.
you know what I mean? If everybody's attention is here, and I know what it costs to make a double stack 1911, then I don't want to spend too much of our budget over here when we may get onesie twosie orders for this, but we got 19 stores across the United States that want this. So that's kind of how we plan it and why I am not releasing our AR-10 just yet. It's just because I don't want to have conflicting interests. Like, we're still a new company, and here's the reality of what I tell our team every day. We may sell so many of these, that it doesn't even make sense to do ARs anymore. And that is okay. That is okay. I guarantee you, Radian, which is one of the companies I look up to a lot, I bet you they sell more accessories than they sell rifles all day. I'm
Especially with
sure they do. I'm sure the ambi
Ramjet.
safeties. That's it. Ramjet afterburners,
Mm.
the Raptor, the Talons. So your charging handles, like they move a ton of that stuff. You know what I mean? And you could buy their whole complete rifle, which I think is an amazing rifle. Like I aspire to make something of that level of quality with that level of affordability, but I promise you they selling everything else more. So like your company may evolve. It may grow, it may change, it may not ever be what you think that it'll be. You know what I mean? And you got to be okay with that. You have to be all right with understanding that your company may grow and evolve. We may make this double stack 1911. It may be hot for 1 year and then people don't want that anymore. Can you grow and evolve without chasing fads? Can you grow and evolve and prove sustainable value to the community? Like those are the challenges I look forward to, man. Like I get excited about stuff like that.
That's what's up, man. And the 1911, man, is it called the Levite or the? I want
It
to make
is.
sure
It's
I'm saying
called
it
the
right.
Levite. Yep. It's called the
Okay.
Levite. Thanks for I've heard some crazy pronunciation of that name with people trying to figure it out. But it is called the Levite. Um Levites biblically in the Bible. I love the tribe of Levi because the Levites they didn't inherit any land or anything. They all their provision came from taking care of the people. They were the teachers, they were the educators, they protected the temple. Like they were the people who took care of the people, and that's how they made their provision. And it just fit the theme of Rostic Arms. Like we don't have military contracts, law enforcement contracts. We don't have industry connections. When I went to SHOT Show for the first time, I didn't know anybody but my mentor and his friend that was out there with a booth, and he was basically like, "Hey, we're doing our thing." Like, so I'm not saying you can't come say hi, but like I won't be going around introduce like you got to figure this out. And so the first time I went to SHOT Show, it really was just me walking around introducing myself to people at the booth. Some people not giving me the time of day. Some people did, and I had to make my own connections. But I was doing it with the mindset of this is for my people. If let's just say HK was putting out the next best pistol, and that's what I needed to be pushing the people in my concealed carry class, then I'm at SHOT Show trying to learn everything I can about it because I need to bring back that knowledge and insight to my people and say, okay, this is what we need to be buying, right?
Mm.
So like that's what the thought process of a Levite is all about. I'm constantly studying, I'm constantly taking trips to go visit facilities and things like that. But it's all about provision for the people. It's all about taking care of our people. It's all about educating our people, protecting our people. I didn't inherit anything in this industry. Like this wasn't even my industry. Before COVID happened, I had a t-shirt and embroidery shop. Like we did screen printing shirts and embroidering hats, and that was my industry. And only because of COVID, when they shut everything non-essential down, I got in this lane. And so that's just it, man. The Levite just really represents something that I built from my provision of taking care of people. Like that's what it is. I consider myself a Levite, and the people who run this gun. Um, I want them to have the Levite mentality. I want them to understand that this is for taking care of the people. This is for protection. This is for education. This is not for um the gangbanger. This is not to throw a switch in and like this isn't that. This is for those who feel a higher calling and understand that it's their duty to protect the people. Like that's what this is for.
Mm. You got a contact information for Team Blacksmith?
Mm-mm.
I got you. I got you.
Okay.
We'll talk. We'll talk.
Okay, for sure.
Um, I think I already know because I got three questions left for you. But you train countless students. What is one scenario that most people are dangerously unprepared for, even if they believe they're trained? And I know earlier we talked about you having to utilize your handgun in a situation that you said you almost dropped it because again it was the adrenaline. It was a situation that doesn't happen every day because nobody wakes up and says, "Oh, there's a shooting going on."
Right, right.
It just I think to
What?
the average untrained person, it wouldn't have gone as smoothly
Right,
as it did for you as it would have for them. But
right.
what do you think?
But I do have a scenario that people are extremely underprepared for, and it is home invasion. Home
Hmm.
invasion is a situation that people are extremely underprepared for, like completely unprepared. There's so many things that when I teach our home protection class, when I help families come up with home protection plans, I start that class, especially if I have families with teenagers, and I tell the parents not to say anything. And I ask the teenagers, if your mom locked you out the house, how would you get in? And the stuff they come up with is wild. That's when you start finding out, oh, the lock on the bathroom window doesn't work. So we just climb through the window. That's
Yep.
when you learn, oh, we keep an extra house key um hanging up on the side of the house. It's just hanging on a
Mhm.
nail and by a string. Well, how many other people see that? You know what I mean? Like, so, like, home protection is something that people are just like, I don't know. That's another challenge I have. Like, to buy, even for me, to buy a $3,000 pistol, but you don't have adequate locks on your doors. Like, things like strike plates that make it harder to kick in your door, right? Like there's so many different things that people just don't. Some people leave their house and don't lock the front door
It
because they
must be
think they
nice
live,
because that ain't me.
man, that's it. But they live in a neighborhood where they feel like, well, nothing will happen. You know what I mean? And so, and even just strategy on, I'm in the room, I hear a window break. What do I do? What happens if the window breaks on the main floor, but I'm upstairs and my kids are in the basement? What do we
Hmm.
do? What do I do if again I hear somebody in the house, but I thought everybody was in the bed, right? Like, do I have a code word that I can say and only my family would know the responding word so I can know if this is a friend or a foe? Like, home invasion is something people are just extremely underprepared for.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like in a sense reverse CQB because like you're in the home. If anything, it was the complete opposite where there's like the military team that's going in or the SWAT team or whatever, they will be the ones coming into you. But now
Hmm.
you are the target in the house. So it's not as easy as like I can just like in my case, I got the upstairs advantage. I know my mom is her room is also on the upstairs level, but sometimes it's not as easy as like I can just take my rifle and shoot towards the front door and everything will be taken care of. Like, nah, it's there could be more to that. Who's to say mom's isn't in the office that night? Who's to say that,
Hmm.
you know, crazy scenario, the police might be in the front door because somebody called in a home invasion in their house and the home invader's getting a little extra greedy that night and they decided to break into my house, but the police caught attention of that, and then they're in my front door. I mean that's an extreme situation. It's like very rare, but nonetheless, it's like you always got to know what's beyond your target, and
Absolutely.
you have to
Absolutely.
know how to handle your target. If you don't know how to handle that target, then it's not going to end well.
At all.
So yeah, man, I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with home invasion. I would dare say road rage is another one because
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
it's increasing in Georgia, man. I had an instance. months earlier this year, as a matter of fact, because I'm on the highway and I didn't have my firearm. I usually try and keep like my safe with my firearm in it. And I want to have the most punching power as possible. So like I think I got a Glock 22, which is like the 40 Smith and Wesson,
Yep,
I
yep.
think. Um, but other than that, I didn't have it. And like I said, I'm working these crazy Batman hours, so it's like 6:30 to 4:30 in the morning. Hit the highway, I'm driving home. There was this car. It was weird because like Atlanta's they're geniuses when it comes to building roads and highways. And I mean that in the most disrespectful way possible. But nonetheless, I'm on the road and I know that my lane is a third lane, right? And it's going to continue to go on. It's not going to end. It's going to stay a third lane, a slow lane, if you will. This person started kind of weaving over into my lane, and I had to honk the horn a little bit. So I sped up, then they sped up past me, but then they started slowing down. And this is a highway, mind you. Average speed limit is like 65, 55. They slowed down to about 50, 45.
Mm.
And I'm like, I don't know what you got planned. I don't know what you're trying to do. Um, so I slowed down essentially myself just to make sure that nothing crazy was going on. And about 5, 10 minutes later, I'm like, okay, I gotta go for it. So I cut the turbo on in my car and I just gunned it, drove past them. Um, but with the way police in Atlanta are, it's like I'll be the one driving 100 miles per hour, leaving them behind. But then I got to answer the police as far as like, why were you speeding? So it's
Hmm.
all stuff you got to consider, man. But it could have easily turned into something crazy that I wasn't ready for.
Right, right,
Uh,
absolutely.
Everybody's armed nowadays.
Everybody.
Speaking of which, if every gun owner could only learn one life-saving skill this year to protect themselves and their family, which skill would you choose and why?
I would choose de-escalation.
Mm,
And the reason, not conflict avoidance, because there is a difference.
yeah.
Not conflict avoidance, de-escalation. I was having a meeting with the Grand Rapids police chief. It actually was a forum we were speaking at, and it was me, him, the superintendent of public schools, and some city commissioners and things. And I told them, because I was talking to them, not the audience. I said, I'm 37 years old, and the one skill that I don't think anybody has ever intentionally taught me is how to de-escalate. Nobody has taught me when I'm in the middle of a bad situation and tension is rising, how do I de-escalate and get myself out of the situation? And I feel like that's the number one skill because a lot of people go to their gun because they don't know how to back out of the situation,
Hmm.
right? If when you talk to a lot of people who are facing gun charges and things like that, they didn't want to do it. They didn't know what else to do though. And that's if when we talk about saving life, de-escalation, a situation like road rage, right? Simple situation like that. How do you get out of it, right? Because you could gunning it. That's one way out of it. What's another way? If people slow down and roll their window down, should you roll your window down and say, "Hey, bro, I'm sorry. I didn't mean nothing by it"? Or is it even safe to roll your window down? And if it's not safe, then what do you do, right? Like nobody
Right.
teaches those things, the de-escalation tactics. Um, you know what I mean? If I'm in a verbal altercation with somebody, keeping distance between us, making
Hmm.
sure that they can't just swing on me, which could cause me to react and swing back, grab a knife, grab a gun, whatever the case may be, right? I'm going to keep distance in that argument. I'm going to try to leave. But when I'm leaving, I'm never turning my back to the threat, right? Like there's
Right.
things that could be taught that nobody's teaching. Um, I built a whole curriculum just around de-escalation, and I'm trying to pitch to teach it in high schools because I feel like that's really the age where it's make or break. I would love to start earlier than that, but high schoolers probably get into the most life-altering altercations, right? Like that's where you're going to get in a fight where you're suspended from school or you get expelled or like they start to label things as gangs because it was you and your friends. Like high school is that age. But I feel like our high schoolers aren't equipped with tools that when they're in conflict, how do they get out? Because some people are saying, I'm sorry, that's not enough.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, don't be sorry now. Well, what should they do? How do they get out of this situation? Like, so many more lives could be saved if people focused on teaching and helping our people understand de escalation. If I'm in a
Yeah.
conflict, how do I get out without having to go for this gun?
I definitely agree with that. And I'd take it even further and say I'd probably put it in middle school because like when when I was in school, I don't remember middle schoolers cussing as much as they do now. And it's like if they're
Yeah, that's
cussing,
true.
you know they got to be trying to do some other stuff.
That's true.
Shoot, I used to live in a community that had a pool house up by the entrance, and the guy that maintained the pool house, you know, to be blunt about it, he said he'd find like cigarettes, rolling paper, and some condoms.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, the average adult that lives in the house ain't got no business going up to a pool house to do what was going on up there. So,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah,
we live in
man.
interesting times.
We do. And it breaks my heart, man, that more people aren't focused on, again, everybody talks conflict avoidance, but sometimes conflict can't be avoided. So
Yep.
in my mind, let's teach people how to de-escalate before the situation gets out of hand. So I think that's probably the most life-changing skill and life-saving skill for gun owners is let's learn how to de-escalate before we have to go for the gun.
Right. I definitely agree with that because, like you said, some people just automatically gun, but
Hmm.
we can always do better as a community.
For
I
sure.
mean, the gun community in general, man, you know.
Absolutely.
Last question. It's the biggest one in my opinion, but when
Let's
everything
do
is
it.
said and done, what legacy do you want Rostic Arms and Smart Shooters to leave for the next generation of black gun owners?
Mm. That what I'm doing is possible, right? I'm not doing something that's an anomaly. I'm doing something that can become our norm. I
Hmm.
want I want people to realize to dream bigger, right? In 2020, I remember how many black firearms instructors there were, right? It was like they were popping out of a vending machine. It was so many of us. And to some extent, it was beautiful to see. And, but I was like, how come a lot of people just didn't take it further, right? Like,
Yeah.
how come we thought an instructor was all we can be, right? Like,
Yep.
how come we couldn't write our own curriculums and how come we couldn't, and I know there's organizations like NAGA that they tried or they did or whatever. No disrespect to anybody out there who's putting in the effort, but I'm just saying that it feels like and it seems like we dream small. We be like, okay, I'm gonna start a holster company because I can buy some Kydex or I can buy the heat press or I can buy the vacuum press, and but it's like the same way you can buy a tabletop CNC and you can start off with 80% lowers and cut your own ARs lowers out, and you could just sell lowers, and maybe you design lowers in a way that's more uh aesthetically pleasing as well as um functionally beneficial to get your name out there. And you know what I mean? Like I know our lowers, that's kind of our claim to fame. Like you see them three little lines, you like, oh, that's a Rostic Arms. Like You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
functionally, our lowers are the same. It's just the aesthetics that we focused on that made our product stand out just that much. So I just want our legacy at Rostic Arms to just be like we we dreamed bigger. Like even now, we're trying to figure out what does bigger look like because it can't just be well, we sell guns. Like, nah, let's dream bigger. Like, what is a gun company doing in 2020 and 2035? What are they doing? Like, as our headquarters in the community, are we constantly, what are we doing for job creation? Like, not just how can I create or how can I pay my bills and buy my family a big house, but like, how can I really create jobs? How can I partner with high schools to get a pipeline going for skilled trades? How can I, like, there's so many things that I'm thinking of. And that was what I want our legacy to be is just to dream bigger. Like, um, what if we had cohorts of people and we taught them how to do what we did? Like, cause I don't believe, again, I don't believe in competition. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying it's irrelevant to me. Like, we're going to do what we're going to do, and we're either going to prove enough value to be sustainable or we won't. And the market will dictate that, hey, it's time for us to do something different. So, like, that's just my viewpoint on it. But I just want people to see Rostic Arms and just be like, man, we can do the big thing. Like, producing the guns in the gun industry is the big thing. Like, we can start our own optics company. We don't have to just be an influencer for an optics company. Like, I can start an optics company that you don't even need an FFL to do. Or you know what I mean? Like, you could start the next Surefire. You can start making magwells. I tell my little homies that all the time. Like, you don't have to make the gun. Somebody has to make safeties. Somebody has to make optics plates. C&H Precision went from making optics plates to now they making their own optics, but they started off just making adapter plates. Like, I just want our people to dream bigger, man. That's what I want our legacy to be like. Man, at Rostic Arms, they dared to dream bigger. Like, we didn't just settle with send me a free gun or my dream is to work with Staccato or whatever. Like, we were just like, nah, we gonna become that. We're gonna become that because that's the big thing. And then the next person that comes along can stand on our shoulders and do the bigger thing, whatever that may look like. So that's really it, bro. That's what I want our legacy to look like. It's just Rostic Arms did the big things.
Can't think of a better way to end the interview there, man. Shoot.
For sure, bro. For sure.
I appreciate your time, man. Don't leave yet because you got to share some information. But
Yeah,
can you just let everybody know where to find the products at, how to get in contact with you, your
for sure.
socials?
Rosticarms.com is the best way. We own that platform. So rosticarms.com is always the best way. Facebook is just Rostic Arms. Instagram, unfortunately, now is Rostic.arms because we had to make a new page, but whatever. YouTube, you can go to YouTube, search Rostic Arms, will pop up. Smart Shooters, if you want to get in touch with the education side of what we do, is Smart Shooters LLC across all platforms, smartshootersllc.com. And yeah, you can reach me so many ways, man. Like info@rosticarms.com will get your inquiry to me. My phone number is basically public information at this point. So like you can reach me however you need to reach me, man. I'm here for the people, whatever capacity that looks like. So
Dude, that's what's up, man. I appreciate your time and definitely thanks for sharing all the information with us and just giving some insight and some inspiration, man.
oh
That's
man, thanks for having me, bro. I appreciate you.
See, I'd say this is the last interview for the year, so it's probably the biggest one I've done.
Oh man, listen, bro. Well, we gonna push this and make sure that your schedule next year is flooded with all type of work, man, because that's what we like to do. So thanks for having us, man. And my team gonna push on our end and make sure that whatever we could do to make what you do bigger, that's what we on.
I appreciate it, man.
For sure.
Well, I have you back too. You're always welcome back.
Yeah, man. I'll be back.
All right, cool.
This the Black Powder Podcast, let's get explicit. We got the wisdom hitting targets with a marksman's precision. We're having fun in the booth, we're running gun for the truth. Every future black gun owner, we're spreading the news. We do illegal, we're moving regal and blessing the people. Some hopes for the culture, we keep it locked like guns in our holster. Holding it down as we're loading the rounds. If they were nervous back then they're gonna be scared of us now. Black Powder Podcast, we'll be back in a while.